Good morning. It is in times like this, in the face of real tragedy, that we must begin to allow our hearts of compassion and empathy to now direct us into action. I mean, let's be honest, we're all here today because we share the same belief and understanding that in light of the events that took place, something must be done. And more importantly, something can be done. But it's up to all of us. And as a country, our response now bears the significant burden of reaching further towards the greater height of adequate solutions. My name is Teos Wynn, and I am the president of the Millennial Civil Rights Campaign. And I would like to begin by thanking Senators Donzella James and Tanya Anderson and Representatives Darshawn Kendrick, Park Cannon, Derek Jackson, and Sandra Scott for giving voice and providing a platform to speak on these very important issues. We recognize today in this mournful hour that it is the emergence of a new narrative that America can no longer afford to delay. And now with both intentionality and boldness, we must unapologetically unravel and address the deeply rooted hate and embedded racism that has long existed in the very fabric of America and continues to produce echoing symptoms of anguish throughout the country today. No longer can we tolerate the sting of mass gun violence or the emboldened promotion of lingering racism and turn the other way. For that which is tolerated will only seek to remain. You see, this past weekend, America was once again reminded of its extreme vulnerability to domestic terror. As uncomfortable as it may be to admit, we must openly acknowledge that the hemorrhaging realities of pain and suffering felt today and in the past from similar occurrences are merely indicative of tolerated hate, legislative failures, and political passivity that will no longer suffice or appease this generation of Americans who have for years been left malnourished from the inadequate supply of practical solutions to gun violence and mass shootings in this country. An America that continues to leave its citizens highly susceptible to such routine tragedy is an America that for all purposes and at the expense of its greatest commodity has lost its way, tangled in a web of partisan complexity for the zero-sum gain of continuing to fail and compromise the safety of the general public. We must recognize that the loss of more American lives to public mass shootings is not a partisan issue, but rather it's an American crisis. How many more lives? How many more lives must we lose before we make the necessary adjustments to better protect our citizens by prioritizing gun safety and passing common sense legislation, such as assault weapon bans and universal background checks? As concerned citizens, now is the time to exercise our voice, and now is the time that we must commit to doing more. But as a nation, we must commit to doing better. And so it is with a heavy heart that our thoughts and prayers today reside with the families of the victims of each of the mass shootings. But it is in honor of those victims that our actions are focused and aligned toward making real and significant change. A change that we hope you will join us in by calling or writing your legislators and demanding for long overdue common sense gun reform. My name is Teos Wynn, president of the Millennial Civil Rights Campaign, and I thank you for standing with us today because together we can and we will make a difference.